Hello, everyone. Today is Friday, March 24th, 2023. I normally come on at 12 noon, but I came on at 1 p.m. today because I had an unexpected doctor's appointment, but I did advertise it yesterday, in which I posted about it being at 1 p.m. today, and also with me having a special guest come on, loan officer Sigal. And I'm not going to say her last name. I'm going to let her say it when she gets on because I do not want to mess it up. So, as you all know, this is real estate, real life, real talk, and real live with me, your host, Damon, the agent, where I come to you every week with the latest real estate trend. And then I also like to talk about a topic that may be on my mind or may be trending. So today I'm going to talk about pride kills. Pride kills. I just want to talk about that from a perspective. So let me begin in the wonderful world of real estate. So today I'm going to talk about the mortgage process. Okay. And the reason why that I'm going to talk about the mortgage process is because that was actually a question asked to me this week by someone is about how do they get started as far as obtaining a loan and then purchasing a home. And on top of that, normally when more than one person tends to ask me a question, I usually bring it on as a topic because I know that's also other people's question as well. So I like to kill as many birds with one stone as I possibly can. So that's the reason why a lot of times I pick the topics that I do, because I've been asked that question many times or the subject has come up. So again, let me begin with the mortgage process. Okay. The mortgage process is a home buyer getting approved for a home loan. Once they get approved for a home loan, then they can really begin the process of buying a home. Now, let me go over the obtaining a home loan. There are certain things that need to be done by a buyer in order to get a home loan. They need to understand that the first step is them getting approved. And what that does is meaning the lender that's going to be involved in the transaction is going to do certain things and also is going to require certain items from the buyer. Now, let me begin. The first thing that a lender is going to do is want to pull your credit scores with your FICO score. Okay. The FICO score is the score that lenders usually use to determine, I'm saying, how good your payments is going to be as far as how your history has been. So they want to pull your FICO scores from all three credit bureaus. Now, the credit bureaus are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. That's the first thing that lenders are going to do. They're going to pull your credit scores because they want to see if you are within a certain score. Now, with most lenders, they require your middle score to be 640 or higher. Now, here's the thing. There are some lenders that have some programs that can begin at 580 or higher, but understand, anytime your credit score is lower, it's going to cost you more. So if you have a lot of money to come out of pocket, I'm saying, your credit score could be as low as 580. But if you have that money, it would be better to just pay off some things that's on your credit report or to pay down some credit cards in order to lift that credit score, because the higher your credit score, the lower the interest rate that you may get. Now, like I said, the first thing they're going to do is pull your credit scores, all three of them, and they're looking for your FICO score. Okay. The next thing that lenders do, they require documentations from you, the borrower. And the documentations are usually your last 2 years tax return, your last 2 years tax return that you actually filed with the IRS. Now, I know many years ago, people used to have bogus tax returns and everything, but they verify your tax returns that you actually give them with the actual IRS. Okay. And what they do is they have you, the borrower, to sign a form called a 4506T. The 4506T is then submitted to the IRS. The IRS gives them a copy of what you filed with them, and they look at what you've actually given them. So the reason why I say that is because I know there have been some people in the past who may say, oh, they have made up some bogus tax returns because they know people who've given them bogus tax returns in order to say that they qualify for a certain amount of house. Now, many years ago, people gotten away with that. But today they verify and check everything. So again, the lenders are going to require your last 2 years tax return. In the process of requiring your last two years tax return, they're also going to want to see a W-2 or the last 30 days income. Okay. Now, with that being said, I want you all to keep in mind that hold on, I'm sorry. I want you all to keep in mind that some people, you know what I'm saying, have 30 days income, but they do not have it on paper. Now, they're going to want a W-2 and your last 30 days income. Pay stubs may do with some lenders. They will accept that, but some of them want your W-2 to verify these things. So please keep that in mind. So let's go over the steps again because I'm not finished. The first step is getting approved. They're going to pull all three of your FICO score. There's nothing you need to do. Just provide your Social Security information along with a valid ID to say that you are who you say you are. That's number one. Number two, they're going to want your last 2 years tax returns. Okay. And they have to be filed. Like, I'm not about to file it. No, you have to be filed. Like right now we're in March. So that means 2022 taxes should have been filed if you plan on getting a home this year, because they want to see 2022 and 2021. Also, they want to see your last 30 days income and W-2. And they also want to see your last 3 months bank statements. Now, the reason why they want to see your last 3 months bank statement is because all of these documentations they have to submit to underwriting. Underwriting are the people who actually approve your final loan before you go to settlement. The lenders, they take application, they submit everything to underwriting. Underwriting are the people who actually say, okay, this loan is a go, because underwriting is also the people who are going to verify your tax returns. They're going to look at your last 30 days income. They're going to look at your bank statements because they want to see how much money you have in your bank statement or that you don't have. Because of course there are programs out here to assist people, but there are also people who don't qualify for programs. So the people who don't qualify for programs and they have to put money down and have closing costs, they want to see that that money is sitting in your bank accounts. And you can get a gift from someone in which they have to write a letter, but then they're going to have to provide where the money came from too. All of these methods are in place because many years ago there was a lot of unethical things going on in the mortgage industry. So what they did is they like to verify things to make sure that everything is legit and on the up and up. So these are the things that are going to be required prior to going to look at homes. These are the process in you getting approved for a home loan. Once all of these things are submitted to the lender, they look at your debt to income ratio, because there are some people who may have $1,000 car payment. They might be paying $2,000 for rent. They might have 5 to 10 credit cards. They may have all these things on their credit report. So they might make, let's say, $150,000 a year. I'm just using all these as an example. But then lenders look at your debt to income ratio to determine how much home you make, because it's not always what you make, and also it's not also just your credit score, it's also your debt to income ratio, because the lenders today want to make sure that the people who get a home loan, you know, they want to make sure that the people who get a home loan do not default on the home loan. So they like to verify all of these things, and then they like to make sure that the people are fully vested and that they really can qualify. So these are things that lenders put in place because of the fact is in the past there have been times where people have defaulted on their loan in such a short time. So because of that, they tend to like to verify everything up front and like to put these things up front in order to make sure that the borrower that's getting a home loan, that are getting a home loan are actually qualified and that they are definitely not going to default anytime in the near future. So these are part of the reason that the lenders go all of these things up front. And then there are some lenders who also have a thing called desktop underwriting. Desktop underwriting, meaning all these documentations and all these verifications that are done up front, they can submit it to their underwriting and they'll know up front, like, okay, we've seen all the bank statements, we've seen the last 2 years tax returns, because sometimes on tax return, a person made such and such made a certain amount of money, but then they wrote off everything. So let me give you an example. If you earn 150,000 a year, I'm using this as an example again, but then you write off 100,000. Okay, and I know it's for tax purposes, but then the the underwriting view you as only making 50,000 because you wrote off everything. So again, like I mentioned before, many years ago, there were things that were done when people got approved for a home loan that are totally different today. That's why a lot of times when people always like to say, oh, my cousin bought a house, my uncle bought a house, and my first question is always, what year did they buy a house? And the reason why I ask that is because everything changes. Things become outdated. Think about this, you all. Y'all have cell phones, okay? You got a cell phone. Let's say if you have the latest iPhone, which is the iPhone 14 right now. If you go back 5 years ago, wasn't it like the iPhone 8 or 9? So if you pull out an iPhone 9 today, that phone is considered outdated. And just like that phone is outdated, so is the information that people like to give about when they bought houses and a lot of things that goes on today. You know, information is always going fast to the point where the information that you received yesterday may not be current information that is valuable today. So a lot of times when I come on here and everything, I'm trying to provide you with the latest update. It's just like the software update on your phone. I'm providing you with the latest software update when it pertains to real estate so you can fully understand and grasp what I'm saying. Because again, I've known people, for example, who have used certain programs and they say, oh, my uncle bought and they use this program. But guess what? That program is non-existent, doesn't exist anymore. So therefore, it doesn't apply. But then it's a new program that applies today, and the person may not qualify for that program. So I say all this to say to please keep in mind when it pertains to the latest information that is coming from you live and direct from me, Damon, the agent. Now, and again, all this information that I just provided to you when it pertains to the mortgage information, I'm providing these things because there will at one point in time where you did not have to provide any documentations in order to get approved for a home loan. All you had to do was state, and there used to be a thing called stated document loan, stated non-document loan. All you had to do was state, oh, I make $200,000 a year. And if you had good credit, they approved you for a home loan. You didn't have to provide tax returns. You didn't have to provide your bank statements. You didn't have to provide your W-2s. But now you do. So I'm just giving you the latest update. And when it pertains to real estate always changes every 3 to 6 months. Please keep that in mind. Like, for example, we're in March right now. And if we go back 6 months, that would be like October last year. Things are different today. The interest rate is different today. There's so many different variables out there, and I just want to make sure that you are aware of that. So with that being said, my next guest coming up, she's a loan officer. Her name is Sigal Covaliu. I probably messed up her name. Y'all, please forgive me. I'm going to let her say her name. But give me 1 second while I bring her on. Hopefully she doesn't fuss me out because of her name. But well, I call her Siggy, short for Siggy. So her name is Sigal, like Steven Seagal. So give me 2 seconds and I will be right back. Hello. How are you?
Hey, Damon. I'm good. How are you?
I am great. I was just going over the mortgage process with my audience, and I was just talking about the way as far as people getting approved for home loans. Today I had someone ask me actually yesterday about how do they get a home loan. So I just broke it down as far as, lenders pulling their 3 scores, mainly their FICO score. They have to have documentations as far as the last 2 years tax returns, last 30 days income and W-2, and then also the last 3 year bank statements. So with that being said, can you give us a brief introduction of who you are, what you do, and what's, you know what I'm saying, what you have to offer people?
Yeah, so I'm Sigal. I'm a loan officer with Benchmark Mortgage, and I help everyday people purchase real estate and start building generational and long-term wealth through home ownership. So I help a lot of first-time home buyers, a lot of repeat home buyers, and a lot of investors.
Well, that's good. So how do you specifically qualify a buyer for a mortgage?
So there are four things that we look for when we're looking to qualify someone. We're going to be looking at your income, your credit, your debt, and then your assets. And we look at all these four things, and we are essentially looking for your debt to income ratio. And your debt to income ratio is going to tell us how much you're qualified for and what your buying power is. And that's really just your income in relation to how much debt you have. So we take all your monthly debts and your potential or your anticipated mortgage payment. And all these things have to be typically below 45 to 50% debt to income ratio. So we're going to have you apply online. You're going to submit your documents, and then that's what we're really looking for.
Okay, cool. So can a person buy a home with zero money down?
You can buy a home with zero money down. What you would need, though, is you would need some kind of program that is 100% financing. So it can be a down payment assistance program. It can be if you're a veteran or in the military, it can be a VA loan. That's 100% financing. It could be a USDA loan, but you need some kind of program that's going to cover your down payment. And then you need something that will cover your closing costs. And a lot of the times what you can get to cover your closing costs is seller's help. And I think in this market, it's getting a lot more easier to get seller help, right, Damon?
Yeah, it is, you know, especially if the house has been sitting on the market for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would just need a program to cover the down payment, and then you would need some seller's help to cover some of those closing costs. And you can get very close to 100% financing.
That's good. So what are some of the good programs in the area?
So some of my favorite down payment assistance programs are going to be MMP, which is the Maryland Mortgage Program, and then DC Open Doors in DC. So both of these programs, they have a few products through the program that give you some money towards your down payment and closing costs. So through MMP, they have a 3%, 4%, and 5% down payment assistance loan. And then through DC Open Doors, they have either a 3% or a 3.5% down payment assistance loan. And these are loans, so they're not grants. You do have to pay them back when you sell the home. And the loan just sits as a second lien until you sell. And then, you know, once a few years go by and you're ready to sell, you just pay back that loan and then take the rest of your equity and be on your way.
Wow.
But those are some of my favorite down payment assistance loans. They're very quick, unlike some of the other programs that people go through that have a lot more moving parts. These ones, if you're looking to be competitive with your offer, these ones we can close typically within 30 days or less. So they're very easy.
That's cool. So how quick, like you said, 30 days, like what, 20 days, 21 days? I mean, I'm just asking that question because sometimes I have sellers who are selling a property, and then once they get under contract, you know, they want to buy the other home quicker than theirs go to settlement. So just knowing the number of days would definitely help me.
Yeah. I wouldn't put less than 21 days if you're using down payment assistance.
Okay.
And then all the ducks would have to be in a row in order to like really make that quick, because once the loan goes through processing and underwriting on our end, it then has to go to the program and they have to approve it as well. And that can take a couple of days. So that's just a couple extra days tacked on to the process.
Okay, cool. Now, before you came on, I was also mentioning underwriting and desktop underwriting. Can you explain what underwriting is?
Yeah. So underwriting is a process that your loan goes through. The underwriter is the one that makes that final approval and clear to close on your loan. So once you get pre-approved through a loan officer and you go under contract, we're going to submit your loan to processing. We're going to package that up nicely and submit it to the underwriter. The underwriter is going to look through the file and they're going to issue a conditional approval, which means your loan is approved contingent upon you fulfilling these conditions. And those conditions may be an updated pay stub or an updated bank statement or a letter of explanation explaining a large deposit that you had into your account, things like that. Once you fulfill those conditions, the underwriter will issue your final approval and then you can close on your loan. So that's all that is. It's just a process that your loan goes through, and the underwriter is the one that ultimately gives that final approval for your loan.
Okay. That sounds good. So how long have you been doing loans?
So I've been in the business since 2016.
Okay.
I started off doing refinances for kind of like a call center company. I was doing VA cash out refinance loans, and that's the company that trained me and paid for my licensing and things like that.
Okay.
And then I decided to come over into the purchase world, and that's how I've been here. Been here ever since. Yeah, so I kind of fell into the industry. I don't think people just like wake up and say, "Oh, I want to be a loan officer."
Right. Exactly. I never said that about being a real estate agent, so I definitely understand that. So another question is, when it pertains to loan products, FHA, conventional, VA, well, excluding VA, but between FHA and conventional, how do loan officers determine which one would be the best fit for a potential buyer? Is it the amount of money that they have saved to put down, or what? And which one is the better product, if it is a such thing as a better product?
Yeah. So FHA loans are backed by the government, and then conventional loans are through Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. And so FHA loans, because they're backed by the government and insured by the government, they are more lenient when it comes to credit score requirements, when it comes to down payment and things like that. I'd say if you have really good credit, like 720, 740 or higher, I would most likely take you the conventional route. And it's mainly because of mortgage insurance. So FHA has two types of mortgage insurance. They have an upfront mortgage insurance and then a monthly mortgage insurance. And this amount is fixed. The upfront amount is tacked on to your loan amount, and then the monthly amount you pay every month. It's fixed and it never falls off, and it doesn't matter what your credit score is, it's still going to be the same amount. With conventional, you don't have upfront mortgage insurance. You only have monthly mortgage insurance. And if your credit is good, your mortgage insurance will be a lot less every month with conventional than it will be with FHA. So recently it's gotten a little tricky because, Damon, I don't know if you heard, they lowered the MIP amount from 0.85% to 0.55%. So now FHA loans, they're looking like a little better, but still, because of the upfront mortgage insurance that FHA has, and because it never falls off, I would probably still take my clients conventional if they qualify for that route.
Okay.
Because with conventional, it also falls off when your loan to value hits 80%.
Okay. Well, that's good information. So, well, I appreciate all of your information. Where can people find you if they want to get in contact and get a loan?
So you got my YouTube there. That's my YouTube channel. I put a lot of good content on there just about credit, different loan programs, all things mortgages. And then my Instagram is Siggy, Sig, SIGGYSIG. And all my contact information is really on my YouTube channel and my Instagram.
Okay. Well, that's good information. I mean, I really appreciate you coming on, taking the time to come on. Thank you very much. And I appreciate all the information that you just gave to everyone. So you said you were Benchmark Mortgage, correct?
Yep, Benchmark Mortgage. And we're a residential mortgage lender. We do all types of mortgage loans, from FHA, conventional, VA, USDA, and down payment assistance. So
Refinance?
Refinances, cash out refinances, all that stuff.
203K.
Yep, 203K and Fannie Mae home style also.
Okay. Well, that's good. So, yeah, so I have your information right there. I'm going to leave it up a little longer. Also, you and I be in touch. And I don't believe I have any more questions because I think I answered them. And then also you answered them. So we both answered all the loan process questions of today.
I will
So,
say this. I heard you say when I got on the call that they need tax returns, but you don't always need tax returns. What we do need is your W-2s.
mm-hmm.
So we only really need your tax returns if you're self-employed or if you're a 1099 employee. And then if you're going through down payment assistance, because you have to prove that you don't own a home.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, we really don't require tax returns for like a regular salaried borrower going FHA or conventional.
We meaning your
Lenders,
company or all loan officers?
I'm sure most lenders don't require them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I have
And
to double check.
if you're self-employed, yes, you do need we do need tax returns.
Yeah. Okay. I'll double check because recently one of the loan officers that I use as well, he said that they did. So, but I'm not saying you don't. It just I guess depends on each your own. That's why I was asking. But I'll double check with him just to ask him.
Yeah,
So
they might have been self-employed or like going through DPA program or something.
yeah, this person worked for the government, so I don't. They weren't self-employed. But again, I'm going to ask him about the self-employment and everything. But I appreciate that information and all information. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
No, I think that's it.
Well, I thank you, Siggy. Can you say your last name, please? Because I messed it up. I know I did some damage to it.
Covaliu.
Cavaliu?
Covaliu.
Cavaliu. Okay.
Yeah.
Cavaliu. Sigal Covaliu. Okay. All right. Everyone, you all heard it from her. So if you want to reach out to her, Instagram is right there. Siggy Sig. And her YouTube has her name, the at first name, last name, 990. And I'll leave it on here for a while. And I appreciate you. And I thank you for coming on. And we shall be in touch.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, you all. That was loan officer Sigal Covaliu. I'm sorry, I'm messing up her name again, Covaliu. But I'm leaving her information right there just in case anyone wants to get in contact with her via Instagram or YouTube. She says she has a lot of good content on her YouTube channel. So please check her out if you get a chance. So I wanted to also go over my topic today, which is pride kills. Okay. Pride kills. 1 second, you all. All right. Thank you all for joining me back. So I wanted to go over this brief topic of pride kills. I was speaking to someone recently and we were just holding a conversation. It was someone that I grew up with, and she was just telling me about a lot of people, you know, where we are from that are very prideful in the things that they do. And it had me thinking about a magnet that I ironically have on my refrigerator that I had for a long time. And the magnet says, warning, pride, harmful or fatal if not swallowed. Think about that. Your pride is harmful or fatal if not swallowed. I've seen where pride have kept people from being successful in their family life, in their business life, because they're all too prideful. For some reason, pride seems to supersede a lot of people's behavior, and things don't always turn out the way people hope for, and they sometimes don't know why. You know, I can say, like, for myself, I remember, as a young man being very prideful towards my father. I was very disappointed with him as far as I felt like he let me down. And I didn't want to speak to my father. And there was a period in time where I didn't speak to my father for probably about a good year. And I'm going to tell y'all what happened to me. This is sometimes God's way of showing you all that, things needs to happen for people to talk. Because think about this. When people pass away, people go to funerals, and unfortunately, funerals bring people together. And a lot of times people always say at the funeral, they wish they would have said something to that person before they passed away. So with my father, I remember I felt like my father let me down. And I ended up going to the hospital, y'all. Unexpectedly, I was working 2 jobs all the time, but I wasn't really eating. I was always on the go, 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 go. So I felt like I was about to faint. So because I felt like I was about to faint, I was working for FedEx at the time. So I'd never taken off from work, but I called my manager. I was like, listen, I can't come in today because I feel like I'm about to faint. So he was like, okay, before you come back, I'm going to need a doctor's excuse because I can't have you driving behind the truck and you almost about to faint. So I said, okay, cool. So I went on to the doctor thinking it was going to be nothing. They rushed me to the hospital and they told me I had like a irregular heartbeat. It was not normal. It was something going on with my heart. So I never told my father. And I remember laying down in the hospital and I woke up and he was standing right there and I looked at him. So he said to me, so you hate me so bad you wasn't going to need to tell me you was in the hospital? And it's not that I hated him. I disliked my father at the time because I felt like he let me down in so many ways. But when he came to the hospital, it made me realize is all of this always as serious as it be. Like a lot of times we have disagreements with family to the point where we don't speak to them. You understand? A lot of times, a lot of people grew up together, brothers and sisters and cousins, did sleepovers together, and they don't even speak to the person that they were once close with. And I always share this story a lot. My brother, who passed away September the 20th, 2003. Me and him, we were kind of like beefing and stuff because I wasn't liking a lot of my brother's behavior. So he had did something to the point where I didn't want to talk to my brother. And the night that he was killed, that earlier that day, he came to my door. I remember because we had a hurricane that came through the area and it knocked out the electricity to a lot of the houses and stuff. So the house I was living in had the electricity go out, but I was watching my son, my daughter Bianca, and my daughter Aisha, and their mother was out doing hair because she used to do hair. So I remember he came to my door. I was like, who is this knocking at my door? And it was him standing there. He didn't say nothing. He let his pride go and he just stuck his hand out. And I stuck my hand out and shook his hand. And his hand was real cold. It was real cold. I was like, why your hand so cold? He was like, I don't know. So we kind of squashed out differences right there. Then my son had did some. I turned around. My brother was in his car. And I wanted to ask him a question. My son did something. I turned around. He pulled off. And I said to myself, oh, I'll just ask him later. What I wanted to ask him is he had turned Muslim. He had this smell on him. And I'm a person who like good smell. So I wanted to know what he had on him. So he pulled off. I said, well, I'll ask him later. Later never came, y'all. My brother, unfortunately got murdered that night. And I thought about something then. Like if he never came to my place to speak to me, I would have had the regret of him passing away with me never talking to him. And I talk about this thing called pride because I see it so much in so many instances, so many behavior. A lot of time it's the simplest thing as somebody saying hello. It's the simplest thing as somebody reaching out because pride kills our relationships with people. It kills our relationship with our loved ones. It kills our relationship with our children, with our parents. And the reason why I gave the example of my father was because I know there are plenty of people who don't speak to their parents. But one of the things that I read about is in the Bible to honor thy mother and father. It never said you had to like your parents. It said honor them. That means respect them. You ain't got to like your parents because to be honest with you, I didn't like my father when I got old in a lot of things, but I respected him. I used to always go check on him every week. I used to call him every week because he wasn't calling me. My father rarely picked up the phone to call me, and if you all had fathers like I did, y'all know sometimes the older generation, they don't call. They feel like you should call them. And I was feeling like some type of way, like, Dad, why you don't even pick me up? Why you don't even call me? You know what I'm saying? But I had to get out my feelings. And I say that to say that a lot of times people are in their feelings whenever they're dealing with pride. It's always about how you feel. If you remove your feeling, don't get me wrong, there are some situations and circumstances where it's hard to forgive a person. It's hard to speak to a person. I'm not saying everything is easy, because in this thing called life, most things are not easy, even though sometimes, somebody may make it look easy. That's why a lot of people got these get rich quick schemes, because they think everything easy. That's why people think that they can become professional athletes, because they think it's easy. Even in the world of real estate, everybody think they can sell a house. I've had many times in my 18 years, people say, oh, I'm gonna do what you do. I'm gonna sell houses. And I always say, you're gonna do real estate? They say, yeah. They say, I'm gonna try real estate. And I always say, real estate's gonna try you, because it does. And I told them, I make it look easy. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, there are a lot of times where pride kills the relationship that you will have. Pride kills a lot of your blessings. Like, you don't even realize it. Sometimes when you're not where you are in life, when you're not achieving as much as you can, or you feel you should, what is it? Because sometimes it's the unforgiveness that you have. And a lot of times the unforgiveness comes with the pride that you have. See, you won't let go of the pride. Therefore, you're not letting go. You're not forgiving. People always say, I forgive, but I don't forget. No, you really haven't forgiven. Because if you forgiven, you move on. And again, like I said, I'm not saying anything is easy, because life is not easy, y'all. It's not easy. But what I'm trying to share with you all is, pride kills. How many funerals do people have to go to before they regret saying, Dag, I wish I would have told them I love them. I wish I would have told them I'm sorry. I wish I would have just told them. I wish I just would have let all that go, because it wasn't that important. How many times? Because what I'm saying, I see pride so many times that are hindering people from moving forward, and they can't figure out. It's like they standing in quicksand and they can't move and they can't figure it out. And it's their pride. Because when you look at a lot of people are very egotistical, men and women, very egotistical. Oh, I'm not going to say nothing to them. I'm not going to say sorry. They need to speak to me first. They need to say this. When sometimes just saying, hey, hello, hey, what's up? How you doing? All right, I hope all is well. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed life. Again, even when it pertains to your parents, I've heard many situations where people don't speak to their mother. Now, here's the thing that I feel about mothers. Mothers, without your mother, you wouldn't be here. Yes, there's a lot of mothers who are not perfect. There are mothers who out here who abandon their kids and do all things. But without your mother, you wouldn't be here. Do y'all know my mother didn't raise me? Many people see my stories. They see me post my mother, and they say, oh, you got a good relationship with your mother. But what y'all don't know is my mother never raised me. My father raised me. You know what I'm saying? Well, he had custody of me, but he wasn't never around. That's another story. But my mother didn't raise me. But why do I look out for my mother? Because I realized a long time ago, without my mother and father, I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be here. So here's the thing. I love myself, and all of you all love yourself too. And I'm going to tell you why you love yourself. You ain't going to let nobody come up to you and just punch you in your face without you doing something. You eat all the time. You ain't starving yourself to death. You take showers and everything. You love yourself too. So why don't you love the person who brought you into this world, which is your parents? Of course, it's God and the Almighty, the upper beings and power. But human-wise, it's your parents. So why you don't love them? Why you can't forgive them? Because the one thing that happens in life is like a revolving circle. The way you don't the way that you don't forgive your parents, if you got kids, unbeknownst to you, sometimes you will experience things similar to what you went through with your own parents. And you'll wonder, how did you even get here? And then your kid's not forgiving you for something simple. And you may feel like it's simple, because here's the thing. None of us have perfect parents. We're not born. And then when you become a parent, you're not born with, you don't have a manual to tell you what to do with your specific child, because you have different kids. Every kid's are treated different based off their personality. So you don't have a manual for John, James, Jamie. You don't have a manual say, okay, well, Jamie's extra sensitive. Well, John, he's simple. You don't have a manual for these things. You figure it out as you go. And the same thing with your parent. So you got to learn to forgive, beginning with your parents, and then beginning with people like your siblings, your relatives. Here's the thing. Nobody knows what everyone else is going through. Think about this. There are plenty of times you go through things, don't nobody know what you're going through. Nobody knows what you're going through. You understand? But people have their own expectations of you. Sometimes you will walk in a room, got your mind on something, will look past somebody, and then somebody will say, oh, they saw me, they ain't even speak. Next thing you know, they say, oh, they ain't even talk to me. So next thing you know, they're talking to me, yeah, he walked in the room, he ain't even speak. But guess what? He ain't even see you because his mind was focused on, it could have been like some bills that he was thinking about. Okay, well, how am I pay this bill? It could have been like a deadline to do something. He thinking about, oh, okay, my deadline in 20 minutes and I'm here. You know, sometimes no one knows what anyone is going through unless you're in someone's shoes. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know what pain people are going through. People can have eternal body pains going on. Their back can be killing them. You understand what I'm saying? Their feet could be hurting them. You know, you don't know. They can have a migraine headache going on. You don't know what people are going through. But because people don't know what people are going through, people like to have assumptions of others. So the only thing I say is, before you make an assumption, hold a conversation. See, the problem is the word assumption, the first three letters, 9 times out of 10, most people are that. People think they're so smart and they think they know so much. But to be honest with you, you don't. Everybody's not as smart as you think you are. You think you know a lot of stuff, but you're basing it off your assumption because you've been right a few times in the past. So now you think you're a genius. But reality is you ain't a genius, because if you was a genius, you'll be a millionaire, billionaire. So if you ain't a millionaire, billionaire, you ain't a genius. So here's the thing, though. Before you make an assumption of others, hold a conversation and listen. Because sometimes when people hold conversation, people don't listen. They want to talk all the time, but they don't want to listen. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth. You're supposed to listen twice as much as you speak, but people are speaking 3 times more than they listen. Everybody want to be heard, but nobody wants to listen. Listen. You will learn a lot by listening. You understand what I'm saying? So the only thing I want to say is get rid of the pride, y'all, because just like that magnet that I have on my refrigerator that says warning, pride, harmful or fatal if not swallowed. How many relationships have you killed because of your pride? How many relationships, whether it's your parents, your kids, your relatives, your job, how many people dislike you because of your pride? If you ain't the most likable person, guess what? There's something that you should change about you. And here's the thing. We all have room for improvement because none of us are perfect. Again, y'all, pride kills. Save yourself and get rid of the pride. I wanted to just say that. So let me come back with a recap of today's show. All right, y'all. I wanted to, first of all, thank my guest speaker today, Sigal Covaliu. I think I got it right. Please don't quote me, but I put all her information. Let me put all her information again so you all can have it right here. Follow her on Instagram. I'm going to actually tag it on my Instagram, her page, and then on her YouTube to get all her content when it pertains to mortgages and the mortgage process. All right, y'all, recap of today's show. The mortgage process is getting approved by the lender, pulling your credit scores, you providing documentations, last 2 years tax return, last 30 days income and W-2, and your bank statements. Now, Ms. Siggy said that you don't always need your bank statements. Just depends on if you're self-employed, whatever. Most lenders normally required. I'm going to follow up with other lenders just to see. But, I mean, hey, she's been doing it for 6 years. So, and that's her occupation. That's the lane she's in. I'm a realtor. So I just know a lot of information that you're going to need. So here's the thing. It's better to have that and need it than to not. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So have it together anyway. But a lot of times underwriting likes to verify those things to make sure, because I just know these things. But at the same time, always verify and speak to a lender, because the lenders are the ones going to tell you that. And again, getting approved is pulling your 3 credit scores, providing documentations, last 2 years tax returns, last 30 days income W-2, last 3 months bank statements. They look at your debt to income ratio. They determine how much home you actually qualify based on all of that. And pride kills, y'all. I want you all to think about what I said, even if you all don't understand what I said. Please think about what I said. Even if you feel like you're not a prideful person, you are a forgiving person. I'm pretty sure, because people, they want to live this perfect life. Many people, not all people, but many people want to live this perfect life. They fronting for the gram. They out here, everybody's showing their best life. They don't want to show that they're human and anything's wrong with them. So, but pride is before the fall, is what it says in the Bible. In the Bible, Proverbs 16:18, pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. So please keep that in mind, that when you're feeling extremely arrogant and up, hey, all we can do is pray for you. I want to thank you all for joining my show today. And I come on every Friday at 12 noon. Today I came on at 1 p.m. because I had some things going on. I did advertise it yesterday that it would be 1 p.m. today. I thank you all for coming, for joining my show and joining every weekend. And I provide you all with the latest real estate trends, along with also having a guest speaker and also having a topic of discussion that I like to talk about most of the time. So with that being said, thank you all, and you'll have a great day. See you next week, next Friday at 12 noon. And please follow me on all of my social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I thank you all. You all have a great day, and I shall see you all next week, Friday at 12 noon.